Grow 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Huntworth and these other fine sponsors.
One of the biggest mistakes I see us managers and hunters making over and over and over again is when it comes to actually putting in a food plot. Okay, that's awesome. Putting in a food plot is one of a handful of things that we can do out there that really potentially can make a big difference. Here's the issue though. Every time we make changes out into the deer woods, we're essentially remodeling a home. We're remodeling their home. You're not going to go in and do a major remodel project on your house without really putting any thought into it, are you? That's what we do over and over and over out in the deer woods. Oh, there's an opening over there. Let's put a food plot in there. Well, if we really want this stuff to be as effective as it humanly possibly can be, there's steps we need to take. We need to do some planning. We need to gather some data, that type of stuff. The very first question is what is the purpose of our food plot? There's all sorts of purposes for food plots. It could be a destination plot. What I want to do is I want to feed these deer the best food I possibly can and get them to eat as much of it as possible because we've got a food shortage, trying to get the deer healthy. Now, that's my goal. Well, on a destination plot, you're going to be looking at all sorts of different factors as opposed to a plot and that destination plot. Are you planning on hunting it? If you're planning on hunting it, it has to be somewhere that you can get to, hunt and get out of without disturbing the place, exploding deer, sending them running all over. Otherwise, you're really not doing yourself that much of a favor. Okay. If really it's only just to, hey, no, I'm not planning on hunting this. What I'm planning on doing is using this to hold these deer, to feed them, all that type. Well, when that's the case, all of a sudden, you don't have to worry about whether you can get back in there and hunt. Instead, what you really need to worry about is where are the deer coming from? Does it make sense that they'll stop here? Will it go ahead and achieve my goal, which maybe my goal is just simply to make the deer healthier? If that's the case, I want it where it's going to get max usage. If it's to stop the deer from jumping the fence, well, I probably don't want to put it right next to the fence that I'm worried about. Instead, I might want to try to use this to lure them away from that fence in the opposite direction. That said, it is always easier to get deer to do something they're already doing more than it is to get them to do something they've never done before. And it is always more challenging to stop them from doing something that they've been doing every darn day of their life up to this point. Can be done, but the more you can work with them instead of against them, the better off you are. What if instead we're talking about a staging plot? The staging plot, if it is a staging plot, pretty obvious, the purpose it's serving is we are trying to get deer to stop here before they go to this main food source. We want them to stop here because we can hunt them effectively at that location. Well, in order to be able to hunt a deer effectively at a location, that means that our staging plots, they have to be locations we can get to, we can hunt, and we can get out of without exploding the heck out of the resident deer. So if that's what we're looking for, start out with just plain finding the locations that you can get to, hunt, and get out of. Find all those and then which ones of those make the most sense? Which are the deer already using? Which fit most neatly and nicely into my plans? That type of stuff. And remember, if you are comfortable with a chainsaw, and I mean sincerely comfortable, they're dangerous weapons, you don't have to have an opening in the timber. You can make one. Final thoughts brought to you by Huntworth. Find those locations you can get to, you can hunt and get out of. Then, which ones work best? Now you have to remember, I need decent soil, I need decent moisture, and I need decent sun. I can go ahead and do a bunch of edge feathering around that food plot to knock those trees down to get more sun in and create a veritable living salad bar around the food plot. And when you're talking about those first plantings, really think fall, winter, spring cereal rye. Cereal rye works so much better in poor soils in the woods. It helps build the nutrients in the ground that your plantings can reach, because it mines all sorts of nutrients from deep in the soil. It builds organic matter much better than most things. It fights weeds. Win, win, win. Go with something like that for the first 3 or 4 years, and then switch to your more demanding plantings. You follow all that, and all of a sudden you've got destination plots, and you have staging plots that actually deliver what they promise.